Hey everybody, aloha and welcome to our Agents of Change Superfood Show. It's really an awesome and a prestige honor to be here today representing the Million Mom Movement, and we are looking for 100 women in 1,000 communities who want to help transform 10 families and their lives through really divesting from the foods that are no longer serving them and investing into health and nutrition. So I have some amazing guests today that are going to be sharing with you about this incredible movement for how we take our health back by owning our pantry. And I'm super excited to introduce to you today one of my dearest friends' mom, Miss Nancy Ruby, and it is snowing outside in Montana, so I'm super excited for you to jump on today, Nancy, and share with us about why you're here. And I believe you have a guest, Miss Naiva Flore, as well, who's also a member of the Million Mom Movement. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, and I can't wait to hear what you ladies have to share with us today.
Thank you and welcome everyone. It is an honor to be a host on this show. I've been attending for a long time under the tutelage of my daughter. So today it's just amazing how Purium works. It's such a wonderfully supportive, what I like to call tribe family. Last week I was just telling people I really wanted to get more involved with the Million Mom Movement because I recognize how important it is to start our kids out right with good nutrition and also to support moms being at home more with their kids. And so that is when Nieva stepped up to host, to also speak with us about her story and how she got involved with Million Mom Movement, is now on the advisory board. So she's going to tell you all about that. Personally, my daughter grew up in a fairly healthy household. I am a practicing yogi, and so is her dad. So we were really aware of the food choices. However, we knew a lot less back then in the 90s. And today I can say there's still a little bit of, ooh, I can't believe I fed her that kind of thing, like Lunchables and going to restaurants that I know that these days I would not choose anymore, but she made it through, and now she's just a pillar of health and well-being. So we got through that. I also know that her favorite food was sushi, and she had a very, very fine palate from a young age growing up in a restaurant. So we had really wholesome food, but at the same time we weren't aware of some of those choices. And also I think what we're going to talk about today is the support of choices that we want to make for ourselves and especially our children that are surrounded by a lot of choices that are not in the best interest of their health and well-being. And how do we navigate that? How do we allow our children to be empowered to make choices on what they put into their body? So I would love to introduce Nieva, who has 6 children herself, and she started this at the time when she had a babe and several others. And so I'm excited to hear your story, Nieva, about yourself and your children's journey with superfoods.
Aloha, Nancy. Thank you so much for inviting me to be your guest today. I'm so excited to be here and honored to be presenting on behalf of the Million Mom Movement. I have been asked, it was only 4 months ago, to be on the council for the Million Mom Movement because 4 years ago, I started as a new mom. Well, I had 5 kids at home and I had a new baby that was 4 months old when I was introduced. And I was just busy. I don't know how I was juggling it all. I was literally, burning the candle at both ends, so to say. I was depleted, I was tired, and there was just no end to the day. And so I'd wake up tired, I'd go to bed exhausted. And then my friend came over and started to share this option of superfoods with me. And I'm somebody who grew up on the Big Island. My mom is very adamant about organic. She grows her own gardens and has always inspired me and encouraged me to shop organic when possible. And so this was something that was always in my mind when I was introduced to these superfoods was, well, I already eat really good. I, go to the farmer's market. I buy at the health food store. And what she came back to me with was, yes, you're eating very healthy, but you're still nutritionally deprived because the food that we're eating isn't the same as 100 years ago when the soils were really rich in nutrients. Nowadays, even if we eat a salad, it might not have the same nutrients as those same greens might have had 100 years ago. So I decided to try the product. She gave me a sample. I tried it, and I was blown away by the way that it made me feel. It gave me more energy. I felt like I was actually able to sit down, do homework with my kids and not freak out at them. I'm sure if you're a mom, you can relate to this. You know, you're just so stressed. You're trying to cook dinner and do homework and juggle. I had a baby and 5 kids in school, 4 different schools, you guys. So what happened was that first experience of trying a sample and feeling amazing. And so I went back to my friend Willow and I said, what was it that you gave me? I want more. And that's when she gave me a $50 gift card to get started. And I was able to order my own products. Now, some of you might be thinking, you can't cleanse when you're breastfeeding. That's what I was told. So I talked to the naturopath, I talked to my midwife, and I found a protocol that actually worked for breastfeeding moms, which was amazing because if you're a new mom, you can probably relate to this. You know, you've just had a baby. You might want to be getting back into those jeans at some point within the next year after having your baby. And I had been going to the bike path and doing everything I could to go jog with my stroller, and I just wasn't seeing the weight drop. And so I was a little bit frustrated. So I wanted to cleanse. When I saw there was a cleansing option, I kind of wanted to do that. I was intrigued. And so I found a protocol that worked. I did a 10-day cleanse with my husband, and I actually was able to lose 8 pounds in 10 days on a breastfeeding protocol, which actually allowed me to not cut any calories, but add in a ton of superfoods for extra nutrition. So during those 10 days, I wasn't hungry. I slept great. I had so much energy. I was actually surprised because I thought I would be like wiped out from doing a cleanse, and I was actually had more energy than on a regular day. So that was the beginning. I lost 8 pounds in 10 days. My husband lost 14, and that was the very beginning of our journey. From there, of course, I wanted to continue because I didn't want to stop feeling this amazing feeling. And so I decided to continue with Core 4. And I can tell you that for the past 4 years, I've been continuing with this daily nutrition every single day. And it's really helped me to just maintain a balanced diet. We all know that as moms, we're super busy. We're juggling all kinds of responsibilities. We might have jobs and we got to clean the house and cook dinner and take care of the kids and all these different things. And so it's really important that we take care of ourselves first so that we can better take care of our family. So that's what I realized, was that I need to fuel myself first. So if you can imagine, 4 years ago, I was getting up in the morning with a newborn baby. I had maybe only slept a few hours that night. I was juggling 4 different school drop-offs. So I was juggling everybody eating breakfast, getting ready, getting in the car, taking them to 4 different schools. And by the time I got home, I was already exhausted, and it was only like 9 a.m. And by now, the baby is hungry and ready for a nap. So now I'm sitting down to breastfeed, and what am I doing for myself? At this point, it's 9 a.m. I still haven't fed myself anything. If I'm lucky, I had a cup of coffee or a bagel and cream cheese. And that's just the way life is as a super busy mom, right? I'm sure some of you can relate. So I was so excited to have this one tool that every single day for the past 4 years, I've been able to take the master aminos that we always suggest. They're vegan protein, and they help me just get some energy and wake up in the morning without a cup of coffee. And then sometime mid-morning, I'll have my green drink, and it really helps me to not skip breakfast. So for me, what I tell people when they ask me what this is and if it's a meal replacement, I don't look at this as a meal replacement. I look at this as a way to not skip meals, because skipping meals is not good for us. We need to stay nutritionally balanced so that we can take better care of our families. So I'm super excited to be a part of this mission, and I have really grasped the mission of the Million Mom Movement over the past 4 years, because from that point on, it actually allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom. Now, how did that happen, right? When I continued with the Core 4, I set up some play dates with my mom friends, as I always did, and I just brought my green drink with me to the play dates. And, you know, if my mom friends wanted to try it, I'd let them sample it. And it was just a fun, interactive thing. There was no pressure. And a few of my friends decided they also either wanted to cleanse or get better nutrition. And through that, I was actually able to make my money back my very first month. And then the second month, I went into profit and almost doubled the money that I had invested. So that was amazing. And I must say, my aha moment around that was when my prior boss called me. So remember, my baby is 4 months old. I'm on maternity leave. And so when that 6-month mark came up, my boss called me and asked me when I wanted to get back on the schedule. And at this point, I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm going to juggle 4 school schedules and pickups and drop-offs. And now I need a babysitter for my baby. And like, the anxiety of just trying to figure it out was literally almost crippling. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to juggle all this. And then that check, that second month check came in and hit my bank account. And I realized that I actually surpassed my part-time income just working from home with my baby. So that was really the moment that I decided to take this seriously and plug myself into the system and learn who the leaders were and get some coaching. And that was only the beginning of the journey. Now here I am 4 years later. I have 6 amazing children that have grown up with these amazing superfoods in our household for the past 4 years. We're all super healthy. We don't get sick that often because our immune system is boosted. We're getting a ton of nutrition. And honestly, I must say, with teenagers in the house and young children and picky eaters, this is the biggest blessing I could have ever asked for, because sometimes there's days when they just don't want to eat their broccoli. And, and instead of having to force them to eat something they don't want, I can give them an alternative and offer them a really yummy, tasty green drink that they actually enjoy. My kids actually come home from school and ask me to make them a green drink or a chocolate kids shake with tons of nutrition in it. So this is something that makes me so proud to be a part of this mission and this community. And I am just so honored to be able to inspire more moms around the world to be able to get proper nutrition, first for yourself and then for the rest of your family as well.
That is such a great story, Neve. I think all of us can relate. I only have a mom of 1, but every child counts. And it's the convenience of things that actually sold me on Purium, because I myself didn't always want to eat my broccoli, or I just got busy, even in my own professional life, that I was skipping meals. And so I think we all do that. And, even if the kids are enjoying those treats that we kind of want to look the other way on, if they can add these superfoods, I'm glad to hear that the kids really like them. And that's what I see is amongst my friends, even with small children, that they really love it. I know the kids program that we have a whole children's line of products, which we're going to show you. And some of them are chocolate flavored. And actually, I've had some kids prefer the green drink over the chocolate, which I think is pretty amazing too, because I find it important to mature our taste buds and let them get used to tasting those greens. And so it's really great to hear that, your kids are asking for these things. And so adding that to it. And I also wanted to just mention one other thing that I heard you say was about, how can you also nurse and cleanse at the same time? And I think that there's a concept around cleansing that people think we're taking away something. But really what we're doing is we're replacing. And right now I'm on what I'm calling a winter transformation, because it is cold. It's winter. We have snow on the ground now. And so it's not a time to do a deep cleanse, because oftentimes that's less calories. But what I'm doing is just up-leveling all of my intake and doing 2 to 3 green shakes a day, and I'm making vegetable bone broth soup and adding a lot of vegetables, but it's more of a transformation, which is why we call it that. I think after 4 years of being on Purium, I just recognized why we use the word transformation instead of cleanse, because it's really about replacing what doesn't serve us and then nutrifying ourselves and really supplementing. And you as a new mom and a nursing mom, you were putting so much energy out. So it was just a wonderful opportunity for you to put more good things into your body so it could balance itself out.
Yeah, I agree with that, Nancy. And something that I wanted to share as well is that because I was nourishing myself while I was breastfeeding my baby, I was, first of all, making lots of milk. I never had some people have a hard time making milk, so I can say that it does help with that. We have the barley greens juice that helps with making breast milk, that I was suggested to do during my 10-day cleanse as a breastfeeding mom to help supplement and make more milk. But also, because I was drinking these green drinks every day and my baby and my children were watching me, they actually wanted to do it too. So it does start with us being that example for our children, because by the time my baby was 9 months old and I started to feed him some table foods, one of his very first foods was a Purium Power Shake. And the reason why is because every morning he'd see me shake up this green shake and he'd reach for it as I'm breastfeeding him and I'm drinking my green shake. And so by the time he knew that he was able to eat some of my food, he was like, I want that. And so I started giving him little sips, and he actually loved it so much that after the first try, I had to either hide in the kitchen to drink my green drink, or I had to be willing to put some in his bottle and let him have his own, or there was no way I was going to get to drink my green drink. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit too, because I think that is also very important for us to be the example for our little ones. And because of that, he loves his green drink, and I can trade him out a green drink for maybe veggies that he doesn't enjoy as much. So I'm really excited.
That's wonderful. And so Summer says she has some clients who have little ones that like the green drinks and want them also. And I'm just wondering, those of you that are on the call now, what kind of information, like how can we support, how you might be supporting yourself as a mom or other moms that you know, and just supporting in the awareness, the consciousness of nutritional intake and how important our food is. That food is medicine and medicine is our food. So that conversation, I think, is really one that needs to be supported. And I think that's why Million Mom Movement is so great, because women can join together, and men too can be involved, join together and really, figure things out, like, brainstorm ways to get around some of the hurdles that appear, and also just creative ideas of how to implement a little bit extra nutrition in addition to other things that might be happening. Do you have any questions, Naiva, specifically for the moms out there?
I think, how are you taking care of yourself nutritionally on a daily basis? Like, are some of the things that I shared today, are they relating to you? Do you wake up tired and depleted? Do you feel exhausted, by mid-morning already because you're juggling so many things? Because this is a tool for you. This is something that you can use to nourish yourself so that you can be the best mom that you can possibly be. You can have more energy for your children. You can sleep better at night, which will help you to be in a better mood throughout the day. And we also have tons of things for kids too. So what are you doing nutritionally for your children? Because I know we all have some picky eaters out there. I have a nephew that literally, I think the only thing he'll eat is toast or chicken nuggets. There's no nutrition in his food. But my sister's able to get him a chocolate MVP shake, which has some nutrition in it. And she's able to mix the green shake into it because he won't drink the green shake. He used to when he was littler, but then he got older and the green shake got weird. So she just mixed the green shake into the chocolate shake and tells him it's chocolate and he'll drink it. So there are ways to get nutrition into our kids, mix it into the smoothies. I personally love to play with the different superfoods to make recipes. So I like to make, coconut cream banana ice cream with the chocolate MVP and serve my kids ice cream treats that are chock full of nutrition. So these are just some of the ideas I want to put out there. And definitely, I just want to ask you mamas out there, what is it that you feel that you need? What are some of the things that on a daily basis, you're just calling for? Do you need more connection? I know that for myself, when I was starting out, like I mentioned, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a new baby and 5 children, right? Do you think I really had a huge social life? No. So, having this community and being able to interact with so many other moms and other entrepreneurs that are excited to just nourish themselves first and then help others do the same is just really a fun way to interact with people. I'm able to be at home, my baby's playing in the other room. It's just a whole lot of fun, and it takes all the pressure off of having to find a babysitter and run around and drive to work and all those things. So,
and
definitely
this
tune
is
into
what
what
I
it is that you feel like.
Sorry. What
Hi,
I
Nancy.
about Amy, who is the founder of this company, she really actually came up with this idea. This is her brainchild, and the real impetus, because she has 2 children, 2 young girls, and she also wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So when this whole line of Purion products was being developed, that's why they decided to make it into the business model that it is today, because of her motivation for getting the product into the hands of the consumer and helping other moms find a way to have purpose and power through both wealth and health. So the wealth part is that we can work from home and we can turn on our communities. And I love the idea of having women support other women and families. Like if one woman can support 10 families, and then we do that throughout our communities, we're really expanding out and making a big difference in the consciousness of how we feed ourselves and our children. So it's a really wonderful platform. And I'd like to know just a little bit more, Neva, about what the Million Mom Movement does for you, being on the board of advisories. What is the focus right now, and how can women get involved?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that question. So what we're doing right now is we have a Million Mom Movement page on Facebook that you can go follow and like. What you'll get from that page is inspiration about our food, different issues that are happening with our food, as well as solutions to those issues. And we're just really trying to share education. So we have a page. We also have a Million Mom Movement group that is brand new. Within that group, it's a safe space. You have to join. We have to accept you into that group, so that way we can kind of moderate who's coming into the group and make sure that we don't have people that we don't want in there. And within that group, it will be a safe space where you can share, you can ask questions, we can communicate, but we'll also be sharing tips and tricks about, being a stay-at-home mom and how to feed our families better, and recipe ideas, and just really encouraging each other as a community. And that group is an open forum. So if you have some fun recipes, or you have some tips and tricks as a mom that you want to share with the rest of us, that's where you can share that. There's no self-promoting, but you can totally share within that group some of the things that are helping you as a busy mom. And in January, we'll be launching our brand new website. We do have a Million Mom Movement website, but we're revamping it. So I'm really excited for that. And some of the things that we can do to participate in the community is, first of all, just be one of the moms that reads labels and knows what you're putting into your family's food, because that's the very first thing, is knowing what we're feeding our families. And then from there, as you start to get inspired and you start to know what's in food, you can start to ripple that out and share that with your friends. Maybe you learn that there's a certain ingredient in the cereal that you've been buying this whole time, and you can now tell them, like, hey, I just found out that this cereal actually isn't that great because it has this awful ingredient that you don't want your kids to have. So we just want to help ripple out the message, right? We're all messengers here. If you want to join our movement, you can take the pledge on our website and join the movement. You can also join our community of superfood agents. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom working from home, you can totally join us and get back to the person who invited you. They can share more about that with you. But one of the things that we can do, there was also a question in the chat, is locally you can create your own local events. So, gathering some of your friends together and, a group of moms, maybe in your home, maybe a play date at the park, and having them all come over and bring healthy recipes and talk about the issues in your community. I know that there's some of the communities and cities are now banning glyphosate around parks and schools. That is amazing. That's something we've been fighting for here in Kauai for years and years and years. And so, be that pillar of light in your community and gather some friends together and have that conversation with them. Ask them if they even know of some of the issues. And bringing up those conversations will just bring, everybody's going to learn something, and it will really inspire everybody. And then moving forward, if you want to be more a part of our community, then you can also incorporate our superfoods and share that with your friends and family, and we have solutions to some of these problems. So then you will be gathering your friends together to talk about some of these issues and then offering them solutions, which is ultimately what we want to be doing as part of the Million Mom movement.
All right. This is all very exciting. I think it would be nice if there's not any specific questions right now. I'm going back into the chat room. Yeah, I know. It's just great. At least we have these superfoods now. So Marissa's sharing that I wish I had these superfoods before, but we have them now. So that's the good news. And how do we get that? So let's just take a peek at where we find the kids program, the family nutrition option, which I just learned about today actually, because I rarely go, I use my back office so much. So it's great. There's a whole family section and then a kids section on that. And we are actually going to do a little giveaway today for one of the kids formulas. So go ahead, Neva, and let us hear about moving into our iShopPurium.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. So here we are at iShopPurium.com. If you're interested in ordering some products or learning more, you can go to this website. And when you get there, you actually have some categories. So you can go and choose the family nutrition category that will, or it's just family. And that will take you to a specific category with products for yourself and your children. So we want to take you here today, since we're going to be giving away some products for kids. We're going to give away the Calming Kids pack because the holidays are coming. We're going to be eating lots of yummy food. We need to boost our immune system, but we also want to keep our kids calm. And and all these products that are in this category, you can go and click on individual products. You can read ingredients. You can read what the suggested use is. There's tons of information here on this page, as well as that book that at the bottom of the page, Women on the Rise by Amy Venner. And she's actually the founder of the Million Mom movement. So if you want to get her book and learn more about her, as well as, her mission, then definitely get her book as well. It's called Women on the Rise. And this is the Calm Your Kids pack. So I'm super excited. This is what we're going to be giving away today to a lucky mom on the line. Nancy, you want to go ahead? Did we? I
was just checking everybody to see what questions we had. All right.
Oh, perfect.
And we've got our participants here. Okay, good. Yeah, we got a good group. I actually have to do a list while you continue sharing something else so I can do an official drawing. So let me do that.
Okay. Perfect. So what comes in the package is the chill spray, which is an amazing sublingual spray that you can spritz it in your mouth, in your children's mouth. It helps to calm their nerves. It has GABA in it, which is an amazing formula. And my kids actually love the chill. My 4-year-old actually will spritz himself and then spritz me. Here, Mom, you need some chill spray. And it's actually watermelon flavored. So that's one of my favorites. It tastes delicious. And my kids love it too. So that's always a perk when the kids actually like it. The apothecary is amazing. This will help you get really deep sleep at night. It has the naturally occurring melatonin. So with this, you just take a little tablespoon. You can give it to them like that. It's a little bit tart and bitter because it is tart cherries. What I suggest doing it is mixing it in a little bit of lemonade or something else. That's how my son likes it. And then we also have Focus, which, we know that as kids, kids just have so much energy. And so sometimes they need to be able to focus, especially when it's time to do homework. Maybe they have a hard time in the morning getting ready to go to school. You can just give them a little dropper of the Focus, and it will really help them to just ground out and focus on the task at hand and not be trying to, play Legos while they're trying to get ready for school. So those are the products that come in this package, and we're super excited to give it away to one lucky winner today.
I don't have oh wait, there we go. So I don't have the fancy online programming that my daughter does. She's a little more technical. So I write names on paper and put them in a basket. All right, so we're going to do this now. And if you don't have children, this is a wonderful way to introduce one of your friends who is a mom, or your favorite children, your nieces and nephews, and all those kids in our life. So that's why we wanted to give away the kids. Ready? Drum roll. Come on. Sharon DeVaud. There you go.
Yay! Congratulations.
All right. So we will make sure we get that to you. It'll be sent directly to you.
Thank you.
Sharon, I don't know you. Do you have children?
I do have children. Both my sons are grown, but I do have a grandson who is 3 years old, and he is experimenting with the kids' stuff, shake and stuff, and this will be really beneficial for him.
Oh, I'm
coming
so glad.
coming into the holidays. It's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad I tuned in.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Healthy Through the Holidays. That's what I'm running with right now. I love our whole program of Health Through the Holidays. There's several people doing a 40-day transformation. I'm with that group right now. And it's such a wonderful thing to think, I'm going to do this through the holidays instead of waiting to the end of the holidays and then meeting up with January, where a lot of people do. And then they're like, oh, I feel so sick. I want to be healthy through the holidays. I think we all do. And so it's really fun to offer this and also keep our children in the same position. It was really interesting when Halloween came around, because since I've joined Purium, I no longer give out chemical-filled candy. But I was able to find some yummy organic little treats. Last year I gave out toys. But it's just interesting how that patterning of reward comes from things that really don't reward us in the end. So I'm excited about shifting some of those patterns. I know it's hard to change habits, but with all of us here and all of those tuning in and getting on this path to better well-being and recognizing the power we have to really heal ourselves from the inside out, our healthcare system needs help, and this is one of the best remedies for it. So thank you all for being a part of this, movement. Whether it's moms, dads, aunts, uncles, kids, we all need to move in this direction. So thank you all for being here today. And I need to tune out because I have another meeting that I need to go to, but Naya is going to take over and answer any questions you might have. And thank you all so much for tuning in today. Anything else, Neva, before I tune out?
Thank you so much, Nancy, for interviewing me and for coming on here with me. I really appreciate you, and just as part of our community and one of the leaders and pillars here. So thank you so much.
All right. And I want to say thank you for Raven for facilitating this. And also thank you for my daughter. So it does turn around. I mean, I fed my daughter as best as I could, raised her as consciously as I could, and now she's turned around to be my own teacher. Just amazingly powerful young lady. So it's been wonderful to be here today, and I wish you all well. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Nancy. And I will take over from here. So if anybody has any questions about anything that we've shared so far, you're welcome to unmute yourself, and I'd be happy to tune in a little bit deeper with you.
Hey, Naiva, thank you so much for this amazing Zoom today. And I don't really have a question, but I just really wanted to share a little bit about how this program has completely changed my life as a mom. After my last son was born, I actually went into a really deep postpartum depression that was pretty unbearable. I had to go back to work right away, and I just felt myself drifting further and further away from really wanting to be a mom because I had to work. So it was really hard and challenging, and then also to be in such a funk. And I'm sure so many moms, as they come out of, a traumatic birth, or if they're having trouble nursing, it's really hard to get those hormones regulated. And so for myself, I've been an organic farmer and an herbalist for over 20 years. Like everything that comes in my kitchen is organic and non-GMO, but I was struggling. I was having a really hard time and I got really sick. And it wasn't until these superfoods came into my life that I was actually able to regulate my hormones, let go of that extra weight that was really weighing me down, really regain mental clarity. And what was even more amazing about it was being able to give these superfoods to my son, who I believe at the time was probably 4. He was not sleeping through the night. He was struggling with severe constipation. And anything that he would eat that was not organic, that contained any form of gluten, which now we know was glyphosate, he would actually flare up. He would break out in rashes. He would get sick. He was having trouble with his lungs. And I started giving him these superfoods, and he made a complete 180. Like, he is such a healthy, happy child now. He no longer struggles with his health. He knows that he can come over to this shelf whenever he wants and make his own shakes. And it's so cool to be able to empower our kids, really giving them the opportunity to know what's good for them and to make healthy choices. And so knowing that we have these tools now and that we can share these with other mamas who may be struggling and with other kids who may be having health concerns and know that they actually work, it's pretty profound. But what I really wanted to share more than anything was how much time and money I started saving in my kitchen. Because most of us think that in order to get really healthy nutrition into our body, we got to go shop at the farmer's market. We got to bring everything home. We got to wash everything. We got to put everything away. Then you want to eat it. Then you got to pull everything out. And you got to prep everything. You got to create a meal. Then you got to feed everybody. Then you got to clean up after everybody and put it away. And so how many times a day were we doing that with our kids? We were doing that 3 times a day. So when I started integrating these superfoods and our nutritional content started going way, way, way up, we started cooking less. We stopped wasting vegetables that were dying in the refrigerator because we were getting so much nutrition. And when I actually calculated it, I was saving between 3 and 5 hours a day. That's like a part-time job for some people. So I had all this extra time that I wasn't expecting, which was the one thing I wanted more than anything. I wanted more time because I was running 5 companies at the time. I was not able to be with my baby and stay home and raise him. And through integrating these superfoods, I was actually able to gain all this time I was missing and create an accidental business. I just started sharing with people what I had found and what was working for me. And through that first month that I was using these superfoods, I saved over $1,700 on groceries, and I accidentally made over $3,000 in income just from sharing with other moms these $50 gift cards that I had. So what it has given me is not only my health and my life and my time back, but now I get to truly be a stay-at-home mom and really be a part of this mission. So I am so grateful to you, Naiva, for really holding that flame and that torch and really sharing with us all what you found, because it's created such a powerful impact on my life and on so many of my loved ones and my friends and family. So I just wanted to share that little bit here today. It's really an awesome opportunity to be a part of the Million Mom movement, and really just huge thanks to Dave and Amy for creating this concept, creating this company, and really giving it to us as an opportunity to take our health, our wealth back into our own hands, take our pantry back into our own hands, and save money and make money in the process. So, kudos, hands down, for creating the most brilliant business model that I've ever seen. So thanks for hosting today, Naiva.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, because your story is absolutely incredible. And I know that we all have stories that can inspire other moms. And so I just want to invite anyone that's on the line, if you have a question, I'd be happy to address that. Or if you have, we have lots of mamas on the line that are a part of our community. If you'd like to share your story, we'd love to hear from you as well. I see there's one question in the chat that I'm not sure that I answered, Claire, about creating events around the holidays. And For me, I'm planning on doing a Million Mom Movement event here on Kauai right after Thanksgiving on that Saturday, the 24th. And the reason why is because I think that's when people are ready to go out and shop for the holidays, right? But we're also just ate so much food, and we're ready to also maybe start thinking about the new year and start thinking about, not gaining 10 pounds throughout the holidays. And so having that conversation with everybody at Thanksgiving, working up to Thanksgiving, and then also having the opportunity to invite all those people to an event right after that amazing holiday of giving thanks, I think is a really fun way to get people involved in what we're doing and have it be something fun. So for me, I'm creating play dates. I know not everybody's in Hawaii. Some of you might have a winter wonderland outside. So find something creative. Have it in your living room. I know some places have, I forget what they're called, Jungle George or something, the indoor playgrounds where it's like a jungle gym, but it's like a fun place for kids to play. And there's also a little corner usually for the moms and parents to hang out. And so, be creative. Find something in your area where you can invite a bunch of moms and friends to come and participate, and the kids can go play and the moms can connect a little bit more. The last one that I did was really fun. We just had a play date. I had one table with lots of healthy snacks on it. I had another table with a couple products on it. And we just had conversations with moms and with everybody that showed up and sampled products to the kids, and the kids liked it. And when the moms see their kids loving it, then that's always, a big plus. So creating events is really fun. And I encourage you all to either do healthy happy hours or create public events out there in your community. And if you're creating a public event, I'll also drop in that if you make an Eventbrite, or if you go on meetups.com or some of your local Facebook mom groups, you can also post that, your event there. So that way more people can see what you're doing, especially if you're trying to attract more people out there in the public. So I'll go ahead and open it up if anybody else has questions, or if any of you other mamas want to share your story. We'd love to hear from you.
I'll share a little bit. This is Summer, and I have 3 kids, and I'm a body worker, and I've been attending births and teaching yoga for about 20 years. And when I started putting these superfoods into my life and into my body, it really reversed some pretty profound depletion that was going on with me, because I had about 9 years altogether of breastfeeding all my kids, and also with the kind of work that I do, that can be pretty depleting and draining. Also, because I've been doing that pretty intensely for a long time. And so what I experienced when I started putting the superfoods into my body and the aminos was a very deep and profound restoration and a reversal of some really bad depletion. Really bad, like adrenal fatigue and burnout, and just really weak and drained, to the point to where, I remember that I was always like, oh, just go, let mommy sleep, let mommy rest, just kind of always in this state of like just trying to drag myself through the day and trying to get a coffee between each client to keep going. And, it had gotten so bad that it was really hard to work. So, with my other business, with, my body work and yoga and birth support business, having these superfoods in my body has actually made it possible for me to keep working. I would not be able to keep, wouldn't be able to keep working without these amazing superfoods fueling me. It's just been profound. And I love giving it to my kids. It makes me feel so much better, because my kids are such picky eaters. They will hardly eat anything. But I just feel so good knowing that my 6-year-old takes Biomedic every morning and every night, and he'll take 4 master aminos. He'll just put them in his mouth and swallow them. And then he'll just like run up the hill all the way to school. And I know before he was taking the aminos, because I wasn't sure I could give them to him, I wasn't sure he could take them. But once I realized I didn't have to crush them, but he could actually eat them, I saw a big difference in him from me trying to tell him, hurry up, you know, just seeing him like run and sprint and be happy and strong. And that's just so much for a mom's heart to see, you know, to see our children be healthy and be strong, and to know that like even if all I together is like some mac and cheese or some pizza or something that I'm not proud of feeding my children, at least I know if I give him that chocolate multivitamin protein drink and he drinks that and he's taking his biomedic and he's taking his aminos, you know, and he has his chill spray at night that helps him sleep, and he drinks his cherry juice at night to help him sleep, and he loves all these things and asks for all these things. And I've seen a difference in his behavior and his physical health. And my daughter, who's now 14, she was having really, really bad, well, she had been through a lot. So she was going through a lot of PTSD, a lot of emotional issues, and she had really bad cystic acne, like very, very painful cystic acne. I've never suffered from cystic acne. I've always had really clogged pores and lots of congestion in my skin my whole life until I started putting the superfoods into my body and my skin cleared up. But my daughter had really severely painful cystic acne, and she would just tell me, Mom, my face hurts, you know. And ever since she started taking biomedic, her face is clear. She does not have that pain. She does not, I mean, she still has some acne, but it is a night and day difference for her to not have to suffer with that kind of pain. And I just see her shine. And, you know, I want that for all of us moms to be able to give that gift to our children. So I just thought I would share that. And thanks for this awesome superfood show today, guys. Love y'all.
Thank you so much for sharing, Summer. I really appreciate you sharing your voice, and I am so happy that you found these superfoods, that you were introduced to Purium, and have been able to use this as a tool to get the nutrition into yourself as well as your children. It sounds like it has really benefited all of you in so many ways. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up again. It looks like we also have the link to the 40-day challenge. So we do have Health for the Holidays for any mamas that are wanting to get on board with us.
I think you're muted, Naima.
Oops, sorry. I was muted and I was just going along, telling you guys how it is. So what I was saying was that I was looking at the chat, and we have our bit.ly 40-day ultimate nutrition package, Give the Gift of Health for the Holidays. And I want to invite all you mamas to join us there and participate in our healthy challenge for the holidays. We all want to avoid the statistic of gaining 8 to 10 pounds during the next couple months. And instead, let's switch that statistic to at least maintaining weight, or maybe even losing some of the unwanted weight that we still may be holding on to. And so if you'd like to find that, that link, it's bit.ly/40-day-ultimate, and that will get you a really great presentation to what it is that we're doing. So you have to type that into your browser, bit.ly/40-day-ultimate. And that will get you to that presentation. You can also find our Facebook group event on Agents of Change if you want to join that, or invite some friends to join us in there. We would love to have more participation. And I want to go ahead and open it up if any other mamas want to share their story today. We still have about 8 more minutes left.
Hey, this is Marissa. I'll jump in and share. I actually, similarly to Summer, have done body work for close to 20 years and taught yoga. And like I was saying in the chat, like I wished I would have had these superfoods when my kids were little, because they were less than 2 years apart, chasing my daughter around, being pregnant, and then having a newborn. And I barely was eating. I couldn't eat any dairy because my son was lactose intolerant when I was nursing him. And so I was afraid to eat something that would upset him. So I would just barely, had time to grab maybe some fruit or some crackers or something like that. So I was very depleted. And over the course of a few years, as they started to get a little older, moved from Hawaii to Colorado and had a pretty stressful divorce, and got to the point where I didn't even have the energy to do body work anymore, to give massage. So I actually went into other jobs for a while because I just couldn't handle like giving to other people that much. And I didn't really realize that that was what had happened. But after a few years, I was actually selling cars. I had been doing that for a couple of years, was just kind of getting back on my feet, had gotten remarried and was getting ready to move to Minnesota from Colorado. And Skylar reached out to me about doing a transformation, and she had a group transformation set up on Facebook. And I had been seeing people post about it for a while, and it just felt like a good time. It was springtime in Colorado. It was May. It was getting warm, and I knew that I had a lot coming up with like getting ready to move and all the things that that entailed. So I was like, yeah, I think, you know, this would be a good thing for me, because I need something to get myself back on track nutritionally and get my energy up and just, and, you know, take care of myself in that way. And I sort of had ulterior motives as well with my new husband. He had been struggling with some kind of weird, like nothing profound, but he just was tired all the time, getting sick a lot and things like that. And I actually was like, well, maybe if I do this, he'll want to do it too. That was like my like motivation as well. And I ended up doing a 10-day and then continuing with, at that time it was the Core 3 products. We didn't have the Biomedic yet, but he didn't really engage with the Purium superfoods and everything. But right when we were getting ready to move from Colorado to Minnesota, like the day we were loading the moving truck, he had a heart attack. He ended up being okay, and we got moved and got settled. And a few months later, well, a few weeks later after we got settled, he's like, okay, like it's time for me to obviously take care of myself better. I'm ready to listen and do whatever you tell me to do. So he has gotten to where he's down to 1 medication from 5. Was just what they put him on after he had the heart attack. And we've all, as a family, started eating healthier and get sick a lot less. And all of my kids, in their different ways, have certain products that they really enjoy taking. And after getting settled in Minnesota, about 6 months later is when I decided it was like time for me to get back to doing body work. Like I finally felt like I had enough strength to offer that again and to be able to do that work, which was actually fulfilling, where the sales jobs that I'd been doing weren't really fulfilling. So that was like kind of the first step in recovering from a really hard time in my life. And it didn't really dawn on me until almost a year later when I was looking back, and I was like, wow, that was a really intense year of all these things, and I made it through it, and I didn't have a nervous breakdown, and I like actually feel better now than I felt before. And I realized that having this nutrition in my life and being able to nourish myself and just ultimately like really caring for myself and taking that time to do something for myself every day and know that I was supported was huge. So that was one thing that I wasn't really expecting, but has definitely been one of the biggest shifts, along with getting rid of some underlying anxiety and things like that that I'd been struggling with for several years as well. So a quick story, I put it in the chat, but my son, he started wrestling this week, and he's kind of a smaller little guy, but he's super healthy. Like he eats a ton of food, but he is the healthiest eater out of all the kids, and he's the one that really gets into our Purium goodies the most. But he came home from wrestling practice and was like, Mom, I should take some aminos, right? And I'm like, yep. And I'm like, and if you want a shake, we can make one of those for you. So he's like, okay, yeah, I want the chocolate. And then we put some love in there, and he had that. And then he took some Biomedic, and just, he was all excited. He's like, Mom, this stuff is good. Like, I really feel good when I take this, and I feel strong, and I'm going to be a big, strong wrestler. He's 11. So it was pretty cute because he was reminding me of when he was younger. But later on last night, we were watching the movie A Wrinkle in Time, which I've read the book a long time ago, but I'd never watched the movie. And a friend of mine recently said, check it out. It's a pretty amazing movie. But towards the end of the movie, when there's like all this darkness happening and these kids are like trying to overcome all the darkness with love, and then everything shifts and everything gets like bright and magical and sparkling, he's like, Mom, that's like what Purium feels like. And I just looked at him. I was like, what? But it was just really fun to see like how kids get it, and how also I think when they're putting good things in their body, how they're more open to noticing, just being open to love and open to goodness and wanting to like make our world a better place. So that's one thing I'm really grateful for, is that this is also, like you said, like teaching our kids a way to be better people. And it really does start with what we put in our bodies, because that's how we feel and what we do and how we interact. So really stoked that we had this little show today, and I'm excited to inspire more moms to bring health and goodness to their families.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Marissa. So powerful to know how you got started, how you're able to inspire your husband and your children. And I love that story you just shared about your son. That is so like just what Purium feels like. And I love that he realized that. I love what kids come up with, especially. Kids are the most amazing at realizing, you know, what it is that we have, and just knowing it and voicing it. You know, they don't have any kind of feeling about it other than like, I love this. This is awesome. It's like magical. So I love what you just shared. And I think we're going to conclude this call. We're almost at the top of the hour. I will open it up for one more minute if anybody has a question they want to ask real quick, or if you'd like to share one last tidbit, and then we're going to hop off. Sounds like everybody's pretty satisfied with our awesome presentation today. And I want to thank you, Summer and Marissa and Raven, for all coming on and sharing your stories as well. I appreciate each of you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Congratulations, Sharon DeVode, for winning the Kids Calming Pack. And I look forward to seeing you all next week on our Thursday Superfood Show. Please make sure and come back, invite friends that you know that want to learn more about our superfoods, and we'll be happy to share our stories with you. So we'll see you all next Thursday. Aloha.
Aloha.